Hi everyone, welcome to today's presentation on managing COVID stress and fatigue. My name is Ella and I'm the Workplace Wellness Consultant based at Business Wodonga for Partners in Wellbeing. So an overview of topics being covered in this presentation are pandemic fatigue, anticipatory anxiety, resilience, signs of good mental health, tips to improve mental health and wellbeing, and self-care. So many of us have been hit hard by pandemic fatigue. The constant and chronic ongoing stress around lockdowns and uncertainty has led to feelings of overwhelm, burnout, and fatigue. This has chipped away at our resilience and tested our coping skills. And when our bodies remain in this high stress mode for extended periods of time, the stress, cortisol, and adrenaline can start to have a negative impact on our physical and emotional well-being. I'm just going to play you a short video now on how to cope with pandemic fatigue. Well, according to Dr. Petros Levounis, a professor of psychiatry in New Jersey, USA, we go through 4 stages in response to a crisis. Knowing these 4 stages might help you to normalise some of your feelings, emotions, and thought processes that you are experiencing with each lockdown. So the first phase is the heroic phase. This is where everyone bands together at the outset of a crisis, doing what needs to be done to get through. The second phase is the honeymoon phase, where people generally feel pretty good about being in the same boat as others, who are all taking the necessary steps to get through a shared crisis. This can bring about a sense of community and connection. The third stage is the disillusionment phase, which is where we're entering now. And this is when we face crisis fatigue, when we begin to experience physical and emotional exhaustion, irritation, and perhaps even rage and despair. This can last for several months, with people feeling very bad during this time until they begin to work on recovering and rebuilding after the crisis passes. The fourth and final stage is restabilisation. This is where people begin to recover and return to levels of pre-crisis functioning. In this phase, many people attribute their increased appreciation of relationships and their life and confidence to manage difficult circumstances to the lessons learned from the crisis. These stages of crisis show that we can go from being proactive in our response to threat, being COVID-19, to just trying to survive. And we need to get rest in order to keep going and focus on our well-being. So rest can occur in all kinds of ways. Dr. Saundra Dalton-Smith has identified 7 different types of rest that might be useful to consider at this time. So physical rest. As the physiology of stress can take a negative toll on our bodies, we need to find opportunities for time out. Making sure we are getting adequate sleep is a good start. Practice good sleep hygiene, use a daily routine to prepare for bed to promote quality sleep. You could also try some mindful breathing to help clear your mind, and progressive muscle relaxation to help ease muscle tension. And mental rest. So chronic stress also burdens our mental capacity. If you're experiencing difficulty in thinking clearly, focusing, making decisions, and difficulty in shutting off after work, give mindfulness a go. It might be just what you need to help clear your mind and reduce the mental fatigue. And creative rest. We need a rest from creativity. This one might sound a bit strange, but over the past 6 months, we have had to constantly think of creative ways to work and connect with others. Every now and then, try to disengage from the constant pressure to generate new ideas. Instead, go for a walk, read a book, watch a movie, or listen to your favourite music. Take the pressure off yourself for at least a little while. And social rest. So it might seem a little strange to be suggesting we need a rest from socialising during a time when our social lives have suffered so much already. But the reality is that many of us are feeling zoomed out and probably well and truly over connecting via our computers and phones. Many of us would much prefer to be in the same room as our loved ones. Perhaps you need some time to focus on truly connecting with a select few who will let you be yourself without expectation or judgment, people with whom you can just be. And emotional rest. These last few months have been emotionally exhausting to say the least, so don't hold back on reaching out for help. If you are noticing persistent anxiety, depression, numbness, or overwhelming emotional responses that are impacting on your functioning and your relationships, consider seeking support from someone who can help you move through these feelings and identify additional strategies for coping. And spiritual rest. If you've been feeling unanchored, this might be the type of rest you need. It might come in the form of religion or spirituality, or in finding meaning or reconnecting with your purpose. Anything that helps you to feel more grounded and provide some context can help. And finally, sensory rest. We've been tuned in to our screens for any and everything for a while now. It might be time to take a break and get back to basics. Engage with anything that soothes the five senses. So we're going to talk a little bit now about anticipatory anxiety. So anticipatory anxiety is the anticipation that something is going to go wrong and impact you negatively. It can be the constant rumination of thoughts playing over and over in your head about the potential issues the crisis may cause. So the pandemic has not only caused stress and fatigue, but has also led to a lot of people struggling with anticipatory anxiety. Every day we face enormous amounts of information and news about the ongoing threat of the coronavirus, the fear of illness or death, and the loss of sense of personal safety, which can invoke feelings of anxiety. While social support through social media or online tools can be a powerful way to decrease anxiety, there are also additional simple but scientifically effective things you can do to better manage stress and anxiety during the COVID-19 pandemic. So what happens to your thinking? The mind reinforces the negative impact and builds the issue well out of proportion, leaving little space for perspective and positive self-talk. So what can you do to manage anticipatory anxiety? Change the belief that is causing the anxiety with doing some brief solution-focused work that is strengths-based. So you can do this by identifying the positives in your life. This may be done through creating a gratitude journal. Set yourself achievable goals. Talk to yourself like you would a friend if they were feeling anxious about something that hasn't even happened. You would likely be kind and offer support, and you should use compassionate words with yourself as well. Self-compassion can help prevent you from feeling isolated, make you more mindful, and help to ease that inner critic and motivate you to recognise and face your fears. Focus on what you can control and even think about prioritising what you will focus on right now. Also, have a support network that is not just people and is supportive in a positive, nourishing way. This could be online supports like group chats, interest groups, online exercise, yoga, uplifting movies or series. Might be friends and family. It could be pets, funny videos, gardening, gratitude journaling, having relaxing music playing in the background day to day. Find out what creates a sense of calm and nourishment for you and your nervous system. Be accountable for your well-being outcomes. Try and create a well-being routine for yourself. An example may be morning exercise or morning quiet time, doing a morning or evening guided meditation, even drinking a glass of water to rehydrate after sleep. It doesn't have to be big changes straight away. And also decide whether a thought is helpful. Just because a thought is true doesn't mean that it is helpful to focus on, at least not all the time. And an example of this is, if only 1 in 10 people will get the job you have put in for, and you keep thinking about those odds, you may become demotivated and not even bother applying. This is an example of a thought that is true, but it's not helpful. So focus your attention on what is helpful and let the rest go. So next is a 4-minute video developed by clinical psychologist Professor Lynn McCormack discussing the traumatic accumulative impacts that Australia's bushfires, floods, and now coronavirus have had on people's anxiety and stress levels. This may be emotionally activating for some people, so please reach out to your supports or Lifeline on 131114 to speak to someone who can provide you with emotional support. This video assists to normalise the current emotional roller coaster many people may find themselves on at different times.
What's happened for us really since the fires started, the floods and now coronavirus, is that we've had a cumulative impact on us regarding threat. And what people are responding to is perceived threat. They don't really know whether they are going to be affected by coronavirus. When the fires were here, it was the same sort of thing. So people are having to prepare constantly, and there is an accumulative effect on people, and that impacts on our anxiety quite a deal, particularly if we can't see the end in sight and there's not a chance for recovery in between each of these events. I think what's really important for people is that they adhere to the information that's been given to them. And that means cleaning their hands regularly, being a little bit more conscious about their activities and how they're engaging with other people, because that gives you power back. You feel, oh yes, I'm actually doing something here to protect myself and my loved ones and my friends and colleagues. I think what is important for parents to do is to answer children's questions, but for themselves to reflect calm. So if they stay calm in their answers to their children are going to emulate that calm. To explain to them that being anxious in such situations is a normal response to abnormal events, and it's nothing to be frightened of. Any of us that have been receiving treatment and are in contact with a psychologist or a psychiatrist or their GP over any other aspects of their lives, keep that up. There may be changes, of course. Surgeries may now be remotely tapping in with their clients, but it's important that you continue to look after yourself. For others, if you feel uncertain about how you're reacting to this crisis, make sure you also make contact with your GP or somebody out there to whom you can talk about your reactions. Panic buying is an unusual phenomenon. We've not really been in situations probably since the war where people have had rations, where people haven't been able to get things. It's about uncertainty again and self-survival. So what happens is people think about self first and then think about others. But of course, in these situations, it's causing difficulty for many other people. I do think that if we take time after this is over to look at the lessons learned, there will be many things that we may do differently within our society in the future. Many people who are exposed to a traumatic event often think that they should get over that and go back to who they were. We are never going to be the same after this. We're going to be people who have lived our lives as they were, with a new chapter in our book now, whether it be the fires, the floods, and the corona story. So I think what people could benefit from is recognising that for most of us, growth out of adversity is an absolute positive thing that can come from these sorts of experiences. We usually grow and become better people and contribute in many positive ways to our society.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about resilience now. Resilience is a term we've all come to learn about with the pandemic. So what is resilience and how do we build it and practice it? Psychologists define resilience as the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress such as family and relationship problems, serious health problems, or workplace and financial stressors. As much as resilience involves bouncing back from these difficult experiences, it can also involve profound personal growth. I'm going to now play you a short video on 8 tips around resilience.
Hello Psych2Goers, and welcome back to another video. Your support helps us make mental health and psychology more accessible to everyone, and we wanted to thank you for all the love you've given us. Now back to the video. What is resilience? Resilience means you're able to withstand or recover from difficult situations in your life. It can help us deal with heartbreak, failure, and life stressors. When we build our resilience, we're able to better recover from hardships and setbacks in a more healthy way. Resilience might be something you're searching for, especially now, between dealing with a pandemic and trying to return to some semblance of normalcy. Staying resilient in these trying times is key in keeping up with your mental and physical health. With that said, these are 8 things resilient people do. 1. You stay flexible and open-minded. Do you often stay open to new ideas, opportunities, and solutions? Resilience is all about trying to make the best out of what may seem like the worst. When you're resilient, you don't have a one-track mind. You give yourself the time and opportunity to think everything out before jumping to a conclusion or fretting over worst-case scenarios. 2. You practice patience and kindness. Whether it's in the workplace or with friends, you're known for showing patience and kindness towards others. This includes being kind to yourself when you mess up. Being kind and patient with yourself is just as important as it is with other people. 3. You're generally optimistic. When something bad happens, are you able to look at the big picture? You don't let one bad slip-up ruin your whole day, and know not to fixate on the bad things. You focus on what you're grateful for, like your friends, family, and possessions, instead of looking for the negatives. This optimistic mindset isn't only a key part of being resilient, but it can also help make you happier overall. 4. You live in the present. It's easy to fall into spiraling thoughts of your regrets and past mistakes, wondering what might have been. But dwelling on your mistakes won't change anything about your past. Moving on and learning from your mistakes takes resilience. When you're resilient, you learn how to accept what happened to you and focus on what you can do in the present. 5. You value and build good relationships. Do you take the extra time needed to build those strong relationships with the important people in your lives? Having a support system is very important. Friends and family are the ones who are there to celebrate your highs and a shoulder to cry on during your lows. As someone who is resilient, you know that once you've built a strong support system, then you're set for life. 6. You know and consider your limits. Are you aware when you need help, or do you burn yourself out unnecessarily? No one is perfect, and no one can do everything by themselves. Everyone has blind spots and weaknesses. This is why you know when to confide in your trusted peers, or when to take a break, and how to practice good self-care. 7. You know how to handle rejection. Rejection in any form can be hard to swallow. Maybe you didn't get the job you really wanted, or your crush doesn't like you back in the same way. do you take these things very personally and think you're not good enough? Or do you recognize instead that there are other factors involved in making these decisions, like other more qualified applicants or another person's feelings? As someone who is resilient, you try not to let rejection get the best of you and decide to move forward instead of letting any kind of self-loathing hold you back. 8. You like spending time alone. Do you like to take time alone to process things, reflect, or get to know your inner self? When you spend time alone to think through your troubles, it can help you sort out your feelings and any possible actions you can take. Reflecting upon things and growing from them are some of the best ways you can learn. Who knows, you might learn new things about your inner self you never expected to. Whether you're still working on building your resilience or you already are a resilient person, every bit counts. Do you relate to any of these things mentioned in this video? Or do you have any tips on building resilience? Let us know in the comments below. Please like and share this video if it helped you and you think it could help someone else too.
So here are some ideas and activities to help you build your resilience. So do at least one challenging thing every day. Give up one bad habit. This could be reducing your sugar, alcohol, drug intake. Develop positive self-talk. Speak to yourself as you would a friend in need. Practice gratitude. You might just be grateful for the sunshine or your possessions. Identify challenges and set a goal. This could be not accessing social media until later in the day, having a break from it, going for a walk around the block once per day, things like that. So create a wellbeing network, friends, family, mentor, counsellor, psychologist. So some of the signs of good mental health. Resilience forms a part of our wellbeing, but what are some of the other signs? You are confident when faced with new situations or people. You feel optimistic. You do not always blame yourself. You set goals. You feel good about yourself and you have good self-esteem. Ultimately, mental health is about being cognitively, emotionally, and socially healthy. It's the way we think, feel, and develop relationships, and not just the absence of a mental health condition. So here are some signs your emotional and mental health may need some attention. You feel resentful often. You dread starting your day. You feel negative. You can't find joy in anything. You isolate yourself from people. You feel like you don't belong. You feel sad most of the time. You feel overwhelmed or burnt out. You can't maintain healthy relationships. You worry about a lot of things most of the time. You tried everything you know and you still feel stuck. So tips to improve mental health and well-being are things like getting outside and going for a walk, going for a run, or just sitting in the sunshine, practicing meditation and using mindfulness apps like Smiling Mind. Pre-plan your day and tick off tasks as you complete them to get a sense of achievement. Create and listen to a calming music playlist. Watch and listen to less news. Notice what you have achieved and acknowledge it. It's the little wins. So why is self-care important? Self-care helps you to maintain a healthy relationship with yourself. This then helps you to transmit the good feelings to others. We all get a sense of how each other are feeling day to day, even if no words are spoken. It increases your internal energy levels so you can make better choices at work and in your everyday life. Good self-care ensures you are being a priority and you have something to give to yourself and others around you, like children, partners, friends, and family. Self-care is also about setting personal boundaries around the way you treat yourself, and this reflects in our relationships with others. So self-care during COVID. Keep perspective. Find a healthy balance in relation to media coverage. Access good quality information. Maintain a practical and calm approach and try not to make assumptions. And to wrap things up today, I want to leave you with these questions that can help you to develop more awareness around your self-care You might like to ask yourself, what can I do right now that will help me in this moment? What can I control? What's most important for me to focus on right now? What small step can I take today to improve my well-being? What is giving energy to me? What can I let go of? What am I grateful for? And who can I help? By answering these questions and acting on them, you will be improving your sense of well-being, helping you to better manage COVID stress and fatigue. Lastly, I would like to say, please link in with me for support locally in Wodonga regarding your emotional and mental health and well-being. This free support is available for any small businesses that work within Wodonga. They do not have to be Business Wodonga members. We can look at ways your business may be able to develop more workplace wellness practices. I am also available for staff and family members for one-on-one sessions. In addition to this, the Partners in Wellbeing program has a helpline providing confidential one-on-one support for small business owners and employees through trained wellbeing coaches, financial counsellors, and business advisors. It's free and there for you 7 days a week. The Partners in Wellbeing helpline number is 1300 375 330. So thank you for listening today. And if you have any questions or would like to talk about any of the topics discussed in this presentation or any other mental health or wellbeing topic, please feel free to get in touch with me. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again.